Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Ed vs. Food. Today we're doing something a little different, a little special. We're doing our first episode of Meals in Stills. This is a series of shorter, simpler videos where we just use pictures to explain the different meals and dishes we're going to make. And in our first episode, we're going to make cream of garlic soup. So let's start by taking a look at our ingredients here. Now, because this is cream of garlic soup, garlic is of course the star of our show here, and we have about a pound of it here to go into our mirepoix. We're going to use some celery and some onions to add to it, and instead of using oil, we're going to use butter. Butter is going to be a very common ingredient throughout this recipe, so we're going to try to keep consistent. The soup itself, the stock, we're just going to use about 72 ounces of chicken stock that we have here. And we're going to make a chicken velouté. So we got equal parts butter and flour that we're going to make a roux out of, and then we're going to add it to our stock. And finally, we have a little bit of extra chicken stock, which we may use a little later to deglaze some of the pans. We've got about a cup of cream here, about 8 ounces, and we have salt and pepper that we will use as needed. We're going to start first by making our velouté. Let's take our flour and our butter and put them into a warm pan. As the butter melts, we'll mix it in with the flour and we'll start to make a roux. Now, the longer we cook the roux and the more we mix it, the darker it's going to get. So a really light colored roux might be called a white roux or a light roux or a blonde roux, while darker ones might be called brown, blonde, black, and so forth. The darker the roux gets, the stronger the flavor will be, but it will also make the soup darker. So we're going to stay more on the light side. Here I've added a little bit of the stock to the roux so we can mix it up a little bit. You can see how much lighter it's getting as a result. We just want to thin it out a little bit before we add it to the warm stock. Once added into the warm stock, we want to whisk it up nice and good, so that way it can stop from clumping together, it can break up and thicken our soup. Okay, now it is time to start sweating the mirepoix. For simplicity's sake, I just took the garlic and crushed each clove. You can feel free to approach it however you like. If you want to chop it up, or if you want to mince it, by all means feel free. Just keep in mind that when you change the size and the shape of the garlic, you're going to change the cooking time. So next we're going to move the garlic, the onions, and the celery to a nice warm pan full of butter. We're going to let them sweat here on a medium heat, about 5-10 minutes, however long it takes for them to start getting soft and translucent. This would also be a good time to season everything. You can go light on the salt and pepper here because you can always add more later if it's not to your taste. Once they start to lighten up a little bit, we're going to take them from our warm pan full of butter and we're going to gently add them to the velouté. And we're going to let the velouté simmer for about 15 to 20 minutes. Let everything get soft, let all that flavor from the garlic get into our stock. Now, as a quick aside, that pan we use to cook our celery, our onions, our garlic, that's still got a little bit of residue on the bottom. Now, it doesn't have as much fond on the bottom as if we really took the time to roast these vegetables deep and dark, but there is some additional flavor on there that we can still get into our soup. The simplest thing to do is take that still warm pot, pour some warm chicken stock into the pan, and then slowly just mix it around a little bit with our spatula or our spoon, and then add it to our pot with the rest of the soup. Okay, our soup has been simmering for around 15 minutes, 20 minutes, give or take. Now it is time to blend. So in my case, I'm going to be using an immersion blender. So if you take a good look at the pictures here, you can see that I've moved the soup from one burner to the other. But you feel free to use whatever you have available, whatever works easiest for you. If you have a food processor, a food mill, a blender, a smoothie maker, whatever works best for you. In my case, I'm using my immersion blender here, and it's a plastic one. So that's another reason why I moved it off the heat. If it was a solid metal one, it'd probably be a little safer, but a plastic one like this could melt or warp. So we're just going to blend here for as long as it takes for the soup to start looking nice and smooth. So this next part is going to depend on whether or not you care for a thicker, more textured soup, or if you really want a nice, smooth type of cream of garlic. If you do want it smoother, you're going to strain the soup to the finest mesh strainer you've got. For the most part, that'll be enough, but in my case, I like to blend it twice. So you can see that's all the puree that I've gotten out of it. I will add a little bit of more stock to that, blend it once more, and then I'm going to add it back to my soup. I like to use as much as possible of the ingredients that I use in my soup, so nothing goes to waste. But this is your call. If you want it as smooth as possible, get rid of the puree. If you don't mind the thicker texture from the puree, don't strain it in the first place, or do what I did, blend it again. Alright, we are almost done. The last thing to do is to add the cream. Now the cream here in this picture is already at room temperature, but I want to set this up just to show the importance of tempering the cream before you add it to the soup. Cold cream added to a warm soup will curdle and will affect the flavor and the texture. You should never add cold cream to a warm soup or vice versa. It should always be warm cream to a warm soup or cold cream to a cold soup. Now, if the cream is still cold or not quite warm enough, what you can do is slowly temper it, which is what we're doing here. We're going to slowly add warm soup to the cool or cold cream and gently bring the temperature up by adding small amounts at a time and mixing it in. Once the cream has been tempered, it can be added directly to the soup and then stirred in. And you can see right here it's taken on a much brighter, lighter color. Alright, and at this point the soup is ready to enjoy. At this point you should give it a little taste test, see if it needs any salt or pepper, because at the very end is another good time to add a little more. In my case, we had some green onions around the house, so I garnished the soup with that, and we were good to go. Feel free to garnish them with whatever you like. Croutons are a good choice. You could even fry up a little garlic and pour that on top for a little bit of extra crunch. This soup came out really good. It's a favorite here for me and my family, but this is also a very versatile recipe. This recipe comes from a cream of broccoli soup. All you gotta do is replace that 1 pound of garlic with whatever you want, another vegetable or even another meat, and then you can make cream of insert here. This recipe also made a lot of soup. I think we ended up with something like a gallon of soup. So this is not something you just make on your own just because you're a little bit hungry. Although if you change the measurements, you change the amount of the ingredients, you can pull it off. Even cutting this recipe in half would probably be good for a family of 4 or 5 for like maybe 2 meals. This soup lasted us several days and became like lunch for us for probably most of the week. So a couple of adjustments you could make. As I already said, you replace garlic with something else and you have a cream of something else. You have cream of garlic, you can have cream of broccoli, you can have cream of chicken, whatever you like. The choices are yours. In the recipe here, I used onions. If you want, you could try replacing the onions with leeks. That will give it a nice, good flavor as well. Although I would suggest using the white part of the leeks. The green part of the leeks will also add more color to it. But that doesn't mean you can't hang on to those green leeks to use them for garnish at the end of the soup. I deglazed the pan with some chicken stock at one point, but feel free to try something different. A little white wine might not be too bad. And there we have it. That is our first episode of Meals in Stills. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll try to make some more if people enjoy it. And as always, thanks for watching, enjoy the meal, and I'll see you next time.